Hi again, it's Dave Kraske. Gonna do another Facebook Live video today. This one is entitled, You're Not a Bad Parent If You're Getting Sick of Your Kids. I probably should have added, You're Not a Bad Person If You're Getting Sick of Everyone that you're living with every minute of the day, because I know that's where I'm at. So just a disclaimer, this is not going to be for kids. I'm probably going to be using some more adult language. That's usually what comes out of my mouth. It's a lot of foul language because I'm used to working with teens and young adults, and that's kind of the language they speak. So, this will not be for children. So I apologize if you're offended by the bad language. If you're not, good. I'll try to keep this light, keep it informative. Part of it's kind of like maybe a venting session, a little bit of normalizing the kind of abnormal stuff that's going on or that you've never felt. So just a little intro. My name's Dave Kraske. I'm a licensed school psychologist in South Florida. I work mostly with kids and teens, but I end up working a lot with families for assessment purposes, therapy, treatment, intervention, school-related things, and whatnot. I'm obviously in my home. This is where I've been doing my videos. This is where I've been working. Yesterday was actually my first day back in an office with people where I had to wear clothing that was not pajamas, which was great. It felt kind of nice to get out of the house. So, getting into it, yes, this is very abnormal, all of this. Being stuck with the same people all the time, working from home, your kids going to school from home, them not socializing, you not having your normal routine. These are all things that are causing a lot of stress and discomfort. So, just to let you know, again, this is kind of normalizing the stuff that you're going through. The title of it was, you're not a bad parent if you're getting sick of your kids. I try to put my hat on of a parent that maybe isn't as fortunate to have healthy children or their children with them. So I do understand that there's a little bit of guilt that comes in saying that. We're lucky enough that we have our kids, and knock wood, our kids are safe and healthy. So yes, I know we all love our children, but getting into it. We're not made to be with the same people, especially our children and our spouses, all the time. I can't think of a time, at least in my lifetime, where that's been the norm. Even going back generations, for at least a couple hundred years, the only time I could think of people and families being together all the time is maybe working on farms. And even then, people are not always with each other under the same roof. So this is not normal. Our brains and our wiring are not made for this. Not to mention, I had a friend message me when I posted that I'm going to be doing this video that we're also using so many different roles that we now have to fill. So we have to be parent if you have any children under the age of 18, and that in itself has different stressors. So you have your, 12 to 18-year-olds that you're probably just getting more annoyed at because they're on devices all the time, are not doing their homework when they should be, or just playing a video game for 6 hours straight. You have younger kids, which is a different stressor, which for the little kids, all they want to do is play with mommy or play with daddy all the time. I was joking with my kids. I have elementary school age kids that every time they say the word daddy, after a certain time, they have to put a dollar in the jar or a quarter in the jar. I think there was one night where I could have sworn they must have said daddy or interrupted me when I was doing something every 15 to 20 seconds. Like, it was funny. I wasn't even getting mad after a while. I just threw up my hands and just didn't even get started on what I was doing and just waited. Like, I know someone's going to come in here at one point. I end up saying a lot of the same stuff, like, you could figure it out, or daddy needs like 20 minutes to do whatever. I'll set the timer. Don't bother me until then. So we're having to use that role as parents all the time, on top of being teacher, tutor, on top of being employee if you're still working from home or leaving the house, nurturer, warden if you have multiple kids, nurse if they're getting hurt, if you're not sure if they're sick and you want to bring them to a doctor, or that's dangerous because there are people that are sick there. So there's all these different roles that you're filling, which in itself is another stressor on top of all the other things that are going on. So this is just not normal. We're not used to this. So again, you're going to have to start giving yourself a little bit of a break if you're getting as irritable and easily annoyed as I am. Another thing that's affecting our parenting and working is just the overall stress, the stress of everyday life now. So there's the stress of your financial stability, which I hope for most of you is not too stressful, but I know for a good amount of you, you're thinking about it. Like me, this affects my work directly. I work with kids and teens, and I'm working with some remotely online. Selfless plug, if anyone needs any help with any educational, mental health issues, give a call. I'm doing Zoom sessions and even starting to work a little bit in the office with safe distancing and precautions. But you're stressed about money. You're stressed about working remotely because that's also different. You're stressed about your kids getting back to school and maybe there's going to be big gaps when they get back to school. You're stressed about what am I going to do with the kids over the summer? What am I going to do about things that need to get done in the house? What am I going to do if I need to start this new role and my kids have to also adjust to something? So there's all these different stressors. So when that happens, a lot of times we're also forgetting to take care of ourselves. I know I've talked about in previous videos a lot about self-care. A lot of people who have looked at the examples and analogies they use, they talk about the airplane, where in an airplane, in case of emergency, the oxygen comes down. You put the oxygen on yourself first so you could take care of the people around you. It's the same thing with parenting, where I know I have to always remind myself to practice self-care. So it's going to look different for everyone, but that's going to be very, very important. And we'll talk a little bit more about what self-care will look like for each of you, and even teaching your children about self-care and the importance of modeling. So, first two things I kind of touched upon that I want to recap. This is not normal. You're going to be more stressed. You're going to be more irritable. That's okay. We want to talk about ways to prevent it from you getting here when you're doing and saying things that are unhealthy or making relationships worse or leading to guilt because you feel terrible because you said or did something that you just was not part of the norm for you. And what I really do in my practice and talk about is prevention. So I want to talk about, in this video, and particularly, preventing burnout as a parent, as a teacher from home, as a student, as a child. Because the way it looks, so I live in Florida, we're starting to slowly open up things, but the odds are that this is going to continue at least a few more weeks the way it's going, and any changes that are going to be made are going to be very slow. So, self-care. I want to get into that a little bit. You could Google hundreds of articles and talk to plenty of friends about self-care and what self-care is. I like to think about self-care as, our job now as a parent is to be the best parent we can, or our job as a spouse to be the best spouse we can and not think about, getting so upset at our spouse we want to stab them in the neck or something. I say that probably once a week that I want to stab someone in the neck. I'm not really going to stab someone in the neck, but I want to prevent myself from stabbing someone in the neck. And self-care, I like to think about also is something that we can practice but also teach our children and our loved ones. So I know self-care for me and a lot of people that I work with and I see people that are watching definitely looks like different types of things that fill different types of needs. So self-care, I definitely have a lot of energy I need to get rid of. So that's where my exercise comes in for self-care. I need my runs, my workouts, my weights. I like to lift heavy things. There's a lot of pent-up, angry energy in this tiny little ball Jewish body that I need to get out. So that's one of the things I use. That, and the kids, my wife has known since they've known me, that's part of my self-care, non-negotiable. Another thing I'm realizing, and I don't know if any of you realize, that alone time is very important. Now, alone time could look like anything. For some people, it looks like going for a walk. For some people, I've even talked to teenagers, they like to go for a drive. Some people like to read. Some people like to play video games. Some people like to just be alone in a room, looking at their phone, going through websites, just so they're alone. This is especially important for people who are a little more introverted. So people who are more introverted, a lot of the literature and experts say that they get their energy from having their alone time. And they use up a lot of energy by being with others, talking to people, listening to people, worrying about coming off the right way and being judged at work, with the family, with everyone. So that's very important that introverts and extroverts get a nice healthy balance of their alone time. However you want to build it into your day. I know it's harder if you're a single parent, and that's where I think it's really important to start reaching out to others and asking for help, or setting the precedent with your own children, even if it's 20 minutes a day, that this is my block of time that I'm going to do blank, whatever it is. The first few times are going to be annoying because it's going to be a lot of, Mommy, he did this, or Daddy, I need you. And your first instinct's going to be like, get the fuck out of here, that's, my brain automatically goes to that. If I'm especially up here, leave me alone, I need time, just give me 20 minutes, please. I've talked to others that are similar, that they need some time. So you could start setting the routine now and the structure down in place that I need my 20 minutes, I need my 30 minutes, or if you see me doing this, write a note for what you need later. Or, I know a lot of parents, we joke about, come to me if it's an emergency, and it's only an emergency if somebody is dying, bleeding, or puking. Anything else, it can wait 20 minutes. But if it's that, please interrupt me. If it's not that, don't interrupt me. So that's alone time. I myself am more extroverted, so I need social time. I find myself now getting excited when solicitors call me, where in the past I used to kind of screw with them. Now if somebody calls me, I think I was on the phone with one guy for 15 minutes, and I don't even know what he was trying to sell me. I had a parent call me the other day to ask for some help with something, and it was very quick. Kept him on the phone for 20 minutes. He must have thought I was stalking him or something. I was so excited to talk to another adult. It was great. And it's just different socializing now. Even when I'm at Publix or shopping, we have the mask on, and it just feels awkward. But for those who need their social time, that's part of self-care. If it's through Zoom, if it's a phone call, if it's you're going for a walk with a neighbor or somebody, and even if you're 6 feet away from each other, that's super, super important. So take that time if you need it. If you're the opposite and you're socializing too much because you're being forced to, take your alone time. Get outside. I see it with my wife. My wife, for those who know her, she's a teacher in a high school, so she's teaching. Most of the time she's behind me at that desk on a computer, but she makes sure when she has her break, she gets outside for 10 minutes to do whatever. Get some sun, get some fresh air. This in itself, getting back to a lot of not normal, biologically, we've only been indoors for most of our days, probably since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, and even more so since the invention of advanced technology. So really, maybe the last 50 to 70 years. The 100,000 years before that, most of our time was outdoors. So just think of it even biologically. We're still, not as evolved as we were 100,000 years ago, even though we think we are. We still need those things. We need sunshine. We need outdoors. We need to be active. We need to be social. We need to be moving. We need to take care of our health by eating right and exercising and all those things. So that's part of the self-care. Now, for parents who have kids that are school age, or even a little older, college, I'm finding a lot of parents are going to have to tone down their expectations. I could count at least on two hands now. Parents that have told me that their kids, young kids, elementary school age, are doing schoolwork from 9 to 2 or 9 to 3 with a break for lunch. And I don't know about you, I can't do that. I'm an adult. My frontal lobe is, for the most part, fully formed and functioning well, I don't expect any child, especially under 16, 17, 18, to be able to knock out that much schoolwork in this format in a day. So some teachers, and that's the difficult part, there's no uniformity. Some teachers are giving a lot of work to the kids. So it's Zoom meetings every day and schoolwork and homework and tests and projects and stuff over the weekend. Some teachers, it's almost the opposite. It's very laid back. It's maybe an hour or two of work a day, a little bit of work on the computer, read this book, do this math worksheet. Okay, you're good. It's going to depend on your child, on what they're capable of, their attention level, their energy and output when it comes to working, their ability to work on their own, how much help they have if they need it. So just curb your expectations. Most children, when they get back to school next year, and this is probably the majority, are gonna be a little bit behind of where they're supposed to be for the next grade. Some children will be on par or ahead. Some children will be greatly behind. The schools will be ready for that. And if they're not, they're going to learn pretty quickly that they're going to have to be ready for that and they're going to have to be flexible when it comes to the curriculum and teaching these kids when they get back. I have a feeling these kids are going to go back to school and either they're going to be so happy to see their friends, it's just going to be talking all the time, or it's going to be the opposite and they're going to be so awkward and not know what to do in a school setting. It's going to take a few weeks just to get them back into the routine and know what to do. So regardless, we definitely are going to, as the parents, have to curb our expectations with our kids and take it easy. Which leads to my next point. Reach out to get help if you need it. If you're struggling and you're fighting with your children about schoolwork or homework or how much effort they should be giving to something, talk to your teachers about it. Talk to administrators about it. Talk to counselors or professionals about it. Talk to friends about it. Talk to teacher friends about it. But reach out. You do not have to do this on your own. This time, more than any I think I've seen in my at least professional life, is when it's more important than ever, where it will take a village and a network to do what's best for our kids and ourselves. We do not have to do this on our own, even though we're being asked to physically distance from one another. Thank God we have the technology that we can communicate with each other, call each other, Zoom with each other. Even if we have to talk in person, physically a little distant, we can get to each other somewhat easily. So please take advantage. Again, shameless plug. I do a lot of this work on a consultation basis. So if you need help, please reach out to me on Facebook. My email is very simple. It's my full name, davidkraske@gmail.com. I'm working in office. I'm working through Zoom, through phone. I'd be more than happy to help get you on the right track or get your kids on the right track or any help they need. I like to think of this as a nice experiment for a lot of kids to figure out what works and what doesn't. So for when they get older, they could use these experiences and this knowledge to do what works. So I talk to the older kids about, this is practice from when you're in college. Do you want to take more online classes or do you want to take more live classes? Are you better working on your own or do you need to work with friends because it kind of keeps you focused and engaged and on task for what you're doing? Are you good working in the morning? Are you better at night? Do you like to knock out all your work at once or do you need breaks throughout the day? Do your breaks need to be structured? Do you need your parents to actually take your phone from you and turn it off because you can't manage to work with it pinging all the time or making noises, or the attraction of, I could just go on and play Fortnite or look at Instagram or Snapchat or whatever. So this is a really good way to tweak our mindset a little bit and tell our kids the same thing. We're just trying to figure out what works or what doesn't. So let's take the opportunity to use it. So which leads to my last point. I like to keep these videos kind of short, no more. I'm keeping track than like 20 to 30 minutes. We have to get really good about communicating all these different things right now to our children, to our spouses and loved ones, to our teachers and employees. So when it comes to self-care, we can tell the ones that we love, I'm feeling frustrated. I'm going to go for a walk with the dog. You guys hang out here, do whatever. Please don't kill each other or burn anything down. I'll be back in 20. And hopefully by then I'll be a little more chill. I want you to start doing that more, and I tell myself we need to start doing that more with our children and our loved ones to teach them so they could do the same thing. I would love for most of the kids I work with to have the ability to say to their parent, you know what, I'm feeling like I want to, stab you in the face. Talk a lot about stabbing for some reason. Anyway, stab you in the face right now. So before I do that, I'm going to go over here and chill. Please leave me alone. Or I'm feeling really effing fed up right now. I don't want to hear your voice. I need you to leave me alone. Even though that might come off to a parent as disrespectful, really what they're saying is, don't talk to them right now. They're here. They're not rational. It's all emotion. They need to use some kind of coping skill to get themselves more at a chill level. I use that all the time. I tell people all the time. I tell the kids I work with all the time. Again, full disclosure, I'm going to be using foul language. When I'm working with the teens, I'll say to them, you could say to your mom, I can't fucking listen to you right now because I'm feeling like I hate you and I want to run away. Like, okay, now what do you want to do to get yourself calmed down? Because whatever was happening, there was a problem. We can't solve that unless we're at a pretty calm level. So I always tell the kids and the families, we want to be able to communicate well, but we can't until we get ourselves at a more chill level. So step 1, calm down. Step 2, problem solve. So this is a great time, since we're around our kids all the time, that we can teach this to our kids. That if there's any kind of problem and we're all getting heated and we're yelling and they're yelling, we need to stop. It's not working. We all need to calm down. Now, I've learned through marriage, through working with kids, many things, never tell anybody to calm down. Worst thing you could do. So you can model it like, I need to calm down. I'm starting to get annoyed. I'm starting to yell. I need to take a minute. I'm going to lock myself in my room and whatever. My thing, for some reason, I have no idea why. I'm going to just fold some laundry. I'm going to put on the TV. I'm going to relax, do my laundry. And then when I come out, then we could solve whatever's going on. But this is a great time that you could communicate and model that for your children. That I'm frustrated, I'm feeling whatever, it's a lot of those I messages, I need a break, I'm feeling I need to, do whatever. This is what I'm going to do. And it'll make me a more patient daddy or mommy, a better listener, more empathic and listening to whatever anybody needs around me. So, that's what I want to kind of wrap it up. At that point right there, we're all doing, I have to remind myself, the best we can as parents. Of course we love our kids. Of course we love the people that we're living with. We're not supposed to be with them all the time. So obviously we're getting annoyed, and that's okay. These are the things we could do to prevent ourselves from getting so annoyed that we want to stab someone in the face. So on that note, I hope everyone has a safe and wonderful weekend. I hope that this is going to be over soon. If anyone needs anything from me, you can message me on Facebook. Like I said, my email is just my full name, davidkraske@gmail.com. And I will hopefully touch base with some of you soon. Take care.